My name is Luke. I want to hop on here and explain something that a lot of people in the world today get wrong about running a business, about being an entrepreneur, about making money, really in general. And what I want to talk about is how do you build something that people will buy? How do you have a service or a product that people will buy? Not something that will sell, something that people will buy. Okay? What I'm hearing a lot of, and what has been, plaguing really the entrepreneurial space on social media, wherever, for quite some time now, probably since the beginning of time, is people's opinions that are in this type of work, this type of lane, this type of career, entrepreneurship, for the wrong reasons. They're out here for money. They're out here for get rich quick schemes. They're out here to step on other people's throats in order to get theirs. And that's something that can be instilled from a young age. It's something that you're kind of not necessarily born in, but you're bred in it because of your environment. If your parents are thinking constantly, survival mode, survival mode, survival mode, then you're going to grow up thinking the same exact modes of behavior. I got to survive. I got to survive. What does that mean? Well, it means, I got to do what I got to do to make money. And if I step on people's throats, if I burn bridges, if I do a questionable thing here, but I get a return here, I mean, at least I'm providing for my family, right? There's people that this is genuinely how they grow up, and this is genuinely how their worldview is formed. And it doesn't help that nowadays, when you are a part of that mindset and you are also ambitious and you are an entrepreneurial minded person, you're probably going to find yourself on that side of influence outside of your family, outside of just what you see at home. You're going to see that in the media, you're going to see that on social media. The things that you consume will be preyed on that mode of believing that you have that's been instilled in you, right? The survival mode, where it's like, I'm going to get mine so that you can't get yours, or you're competing against everybody else, or you're focused on the dollar signs rather than focused on the impact and what God's called you to do. You know what I mean? What I'm seeing is there's a lot of people through those modes, like social media, TV, movies, all of these things, they've influenced people even more, even stronger than their families, even stronger than how they grew up. It's almost nurturing that same exact mindset going forward into the future so that they can't ever even escape it. They're always constantly in that mode, whether they believe it or even know it or not, right? They're just in it. And that's what they're doing. They're clinging to whatever they can. And so then they're building businesses that are really soul sucking, and they're building businesses that don't even have them fulfilled. They just have money in their pockets, and they have the next newest thing, and they have the coolest car, and they have the most attractive women that come over, and they're empty inside, but they won't ever tell you that because on the outside they look successful, they look powerful, and they look all of these things that makes their ego feel good. But it only feels good for so long, and only they know how they really feel, and what they're really doing is pleasing to the Almighty, the one that we're all searching for every single day, the one that our heart longs for, God. And so I want to hop in here today and explain why you need to create something. If you're an entrepreneurial minded person and you have ambition and you feel like you've been called to do that, God has placed an ambitious mind inside of you that you feel like you've been called to do more. You're working a job 9 to 5, or you're looking at doing a social media agency or marketing agency or ad agency or software agency, whatever it might be, and you want to do that, then you probably want to listen to this video, subscribe to me. This is the kind of content that I make. I love diving deep into these kind of things because truly our world needs it more than ever when you have influencers and people talking out of their crack about this is what it means to be a man, and that's what it means to be successful, and this is how you do it. I mean, you're going to just get horrendous opinions. And actually, in 1 John 2:15, we're called to not love the world or anything in the world. If anyone loves the world, love of the Father is not in them. For everything in the world, the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life comes not from the Father, but from the world. These same exact people who are influencing you that this is how you got to be a man, this is how you make your money, and this is what you got to do to do it. Sell my or buy my course, buy my coaching offer, right? The world and its desires pass away, but whoever does the will of God lives forever, guys. I mean, and that's just insane. Like, think about that. Ask him what his will for your life is, and he's going to direct you. And so what I want to explain today, with all of that said, I want to explain why you need to create something that people will buy, and the money will come. And it might not come on your time. It might not come when you want it. It might not come, when you expected it or when it's convenient to you. But it's going to come on God's timing, and you just have to stay focused on that. Stay focused and believe and trust that he has a plan for you, and connect with him daily, asking him to do his will, he'll direct you. And so how that ties into business and entrepreneurship is, for me, my experience is that I needed to create something people are going to buy. People, they're going to be able to sell courses and sell their experience to the person below them that hasn't learned the thing that they've learned, but they can sell it to them, right? Or they're trying to sell whatever, the newest trend, and they're hopping onto the newest trend, and they sell people for a while on what they do, but then eventually the trend falls off, or the person that they copied whatever they're selling from is able to pivot, but they're not, because they didn't build the initial thing that they copied, or the trend goes away and everything plummets and they're at 15K, now they're at zero. I mean, these are real scenarios. You've heard about this before. That's what happens when you're trying to sell something to get rich quick, to hit that, oh, I just hit 15K a month. When you're trying to, emphasize profits over impact, people will be able to, you'll be able to sell it. Over time, people won't be able to buy it because you no longer can sell it, because you're running off the wrong fuel. And a lot of people, that's the way they'll burn out. Unfortunately, our world's set up so that sometimes those people really end up thriving, and they hit the exact same people that I was talking about in the beginning of this video, who have the same exact mentality as them, the survival, and they just breed off of that, and they really rise to the ranks because of that. And that might not be in just the entrepreneurial space online and social media, but also the largest corporations in our country too. So create something people will buy, and they will buy it. And what that means is focus on the long-term value. You hear that a lot. Long-term value or lifetime value. You hear that. And what that means to me is, and what I've seen it and how it works in my business so far, is I am building an acquisition system for these local service businesses. And we're helping them go from a couple $1,000s a month to 15 to 25 to 50 to $100,000 a month, completely changing their lives, helping them leave their 9-to-5s, reframing the way they think about their business entirely, because really they have great businesses that they help people on the daily, and they're really good at what they do. Maybe they just aren't so much as well versed in, the operations or the marketing or the sales, and that's where I can step in and help them, right? And so I'm not focusing on, signing these people to a 3-month contract and just, hopefully hoping that because, what I'm doing for them generates some type of interest or ROI, that maybe we can sign them on for another 3 months. I'm thinking about, how do we help them get to those next stages? And I'm not thinking month to month. I'm thinking long term. These people I want to work with for years to come. I want to see their progress. I'm already seeing progresses of the businesses that I'm helping. And for example, I'm helping this moving company right now, and they went from a couple $1,000s in the month of January last year to this January doing like 15K, which is insane. It's one of the slowest months of the year to move. Who wants to move in the freezing cold, right? But these people are having their lives changed. They're both still working 9-to-5s, jobs, and they're going to be able to step into running their business full time once we set up all the frameworks. And that's exactly what I help these local service businesses do. And I think if you're thinking about how do you sign the next person on to a 3-month contract, and then, you have a 33% chance that they're actually going to be there for the next 3, because that's what your churn is right now, marked at through the data that you have, then I don't know how you feel fulfilled. I don't know how you can really look these people in the eyes or get on a call with somebody and say, oh, I'm going to help you, or oh, I'm going to do X, Y, Z, or oh, I'm going to guarantee this. Like, you can maybe guarantee a little bit, a fraction of something, but what kind of business do you really have if it's that transactional and if it's based on time spans like that, 3 months? You're going to burn out. You're going to last for so long. Maybe you'll find your lane, the right messaging, and you'll connect with the right people, and you'll skyrocket and get to levels that you've always dreamed about, right? But maybe you won't, and maybe you'll just burn out and crash. So build something that's not going to burn out and crash. Build an offer, build a service, build a product, and people will buy it. Focus on the lifetime value of the people that you work with, and they will come to you in flocks, and they will buy it. I met with a client today, and before the meeting wrapped up, the husband told me that the wife on the way there was already set on going with me just because of the messaging that I put out there on my social media. So, guys, say the right things, do the right things under God, build your business in the right ways, focus on the customer, focus on providing the service. Don't worry about the money right now. When I started out, I was trying to build a videography, photography offer. Didn't really work out for me. Realized quickly that really wasn't my lane, and it also wasn't going to be able to provide for my family in the right way that I basically needed to at that moment. I was in a mode of survival, so I had to pivot, and I did. And it turned out to be something that really worked for me and has blessed my family. But I was in that survival mode, right? And so I found what I had to do. I got into it and quickly had to relearn how to see it the right way again, instead of seeing it for, the numbers and the money, kind of where I was stuck when I was in videography, because that kind of offer where you're going out and doing one-off shoots and you don't have a real system in place, you can kind of see the price tag, and then that's all you're focused on. You're signing the client or the whatever the project, and then you're doing it, but you're not thinking much more about it other than how much you're going to get paid after you finish it. Whereas now I'm running a completely different offer, building a completely different system for the people that I want to work with, and I'm real specific about who they are, what they look like, what the situation is, and now I'm thinking in a much longer time horizon than when I was. And it's so fulfilling because it can really help these people and use some of the skills that I've learned throughout my life and apply them towards the right things rather than just trying to make a ton of money really quick and be, transactional. So they're going to buy it if you do it that way, or at least not the way that I'm saying it. Okay, so don't take my word and say that it's the solution. Just, this is my experience. But if you create something that will sell, from what I've seen from my experience, you're not going to make much. In fact, you might make a lot, but over time you won't make as much as you could because you're focused on selling something rather than making something people will come to you and buy. All right? I've talked about it already, but if you're selling a course, coaching offer, these things where you're minimally involved and you're just selling to somebody that's one step below you in the process, or you're selling to somebody, something that they really need, but you're doing it in the wrong ways, and you could have, yeah, I guess I'm at a loss for words right now on what you could sell, for example, but selling something like, content creation. This is great. Unless you're one of the top people that do that or whatever, you're probably going to be based off of just guessing and hope and things like that. Or if you do e-commerce, you're just trying to get rich quick and sell some janky product so that you can make money. Okay? Get to 10K a month, 50K a month, whatever it might be, $1 million a year. If you build your systems and you build your framework around that, if you're in that survival mode at all times, right? I think at sometimes we need to be in it because it drives us to see the next step. And sometimes that time when we're at that low and we're in that survival mode is when God has really grounded us and he's able to speak into us some wisdom on what to do next. Okay, so I'm not saying that the survival mode that I was talking about at the beginning of the video is entirely wrong or bad whatever. But you need to understand that if you have that in you, or if it shows up in moments, you need to use it for what it is, not stay in it and become hardened and become wicked by it, because you really absolutely easily can, and it's so slippery. Money is a, it looks good on the outside, and it feels good, and you feel powerful, but do you really feel fulfilled? Are you really pleasing God? You know, ask that first. So if you create something that will sell, it may sell, but again, what will it provide? Is it going to provide life-changing stories or life-changing circumstances for people? Or are you going to be working with these people for years to come? Are you, you know, are you really intentional about what you're doing? Are you actually invested in the people that you work with? Or are you just using them to step on the next neck to get to the next thing so that you can build the next business and have enough capital to build that business? You know what I mean? That's something you see on the daily from these people that a lot of people take advice from. I won't go into names, but you see this kind of behavior from people and they think it's normalized. And you go to cities and you go to different hubs around the US and the world, and you see these people that operate in this way. And when you've been removed from it, or when you've been given the wisdom from God to see it and how wicked it is, it's disgusting. And you don't even hate them, but you hate the sin. You hate what that means. You hate the greed that they operate in. And the worst part about it is it will sell, but it's not going to provide that fulfillment to you, your clients, and your long term. So I want to make this video a little bit shorter than some of my other videos, but if I could wrap it up real quick, you want to get clear on what it is you do, okay? You know, like I said in the beginning, I was trying to make a videography one-off project shoot type of system work, and found out really quickly that it just really wasn't. Maybe if I would have started it a couple years ago and been working on it and putting, more time into it intentionally over 3 years, 5 years, maybe it could have worked, because I would have built up a portfolio that would have demonstrated, hey, this guy's good at what he does and we should hire him, if a brand's looking at me. But, I had to pivot. I happened to be in that survival mode for a few minutes, had to think about long term, what's sustainable, what can make an impact, how can I reach people, how can I help business owners, how can I help people with the skills that I already have, that God has placed me in this life, in this world to learn. How can I go out and steward them? So get clear on what it is you do. For me, what that looks like now, from the videography to now, where I'm building out client acquisition systems, where we're helping them, smooth out their customer experience, helping them smooth out their operations, helping them smooth out their sales process, helping them, grow their marketing, helping them think about all of those things which are required for every single business, but doing it in a way that just makes sense, that is fulfilling for both of us long term. I can help them, scale to the numbers that they wanted to make their business autonomous, so that they can be outside of it, removed, looking at it from a bird's eye view, like I talked about earlier. And I can also help grow my business too at the same time, and be able to provide for my family and show them the world, and have experiences and all of these things. It's incredible. So get clear on what it is you do. You have to get your messaging dialed in. It's kind of like the example of today when I met with that client and her husband. They both own the business together. They do junk removal. Her husband was like, yeah, she was actually set on you before we even got here. Like, that's incredible. And I try to remove all the pride from hearing that I can, and try to give all the glory to God for that, because it really is not of me that is being able to do all this right now, to build a business, to have the direction, to, whatever, talk through the things that I'm talking through and explain and share and teach. It's really just not of me. It's all things that were given to me that I'm using because I'm trying to submit to His will for my life. And I happen to really enjoy this stuff too. So maybe that's it's not a coincidence. It's just how God works. I mean, He's just incredible. Get clear on what you do. Get clear with Him too. He's going to help you, provide you direction. Maybe you're in entrepreneurial mode right now, mindset, survival mode, but you're not even called to do this. Or you have something else that He has for your life. and you're going to walk through this journey, and you're going to stumble and fall and whatever, and learn all these lessons, and maybe it turns out 20 years from now, after you have failed or whatever, I'm not saying that's going to happen to you, but after 20 years from now, you can take all the experience that you had from trying to be an entrepreneur and trying to build a business that helps real people and solves real problems, and now you can look back and say, wow, he had me go through all of these missions and journeys and tests and trials so that I can do what I'm doing 20 years from now, you know what I mean? Okay, so I guess reframing it is also really important, but get clear on what you do and what that is, okay? First of all, ask God about it, and people will buy from you. If you can do that, you can solidify your messaging, you can talk about what you do and explain it in good detail, and you can have that clear. Then people will buy from you because they know what they're going to get. They know what you've said because you've said it, and they know that you can do it for them because you've displayed results. You've shown them by example, this is what I've done. So people will buy from you if you can dial in your messaging. Like, for example, when I was just starting out, I started my Instagram, had to do that for the personal brand, of course, right? Is that what I really care about long term? Maybe. I don't know. It's just what I'm doing because other people are doing it, and I think it's a good way to differentiate myself. Like I've already experienced today, it's working, so I'm going to keep doing it. Anyways, people will buy from you if you can do that. If you can get on Instagram, you can share your product, your service, your business. They're going to hear from you. They're going to trust you. They're not going to have a guess on what this guy is. Okay, so get clear with your messaging. People will buy from you. When I first started out, like I was saying, I kind of got sidetracked there. When I first started out, I was thinking, okay, how to help everybody. When I wasn't called to help everybody, I was only called to help what I am right now, which is local service businesses. Well, and so what my bio looked like, because I was trying to detail my messaging even in my bio. So when you clicked on my profile, you see what you see, and you're like, oh yeah, this guy does this. Okay, so when I first started, it was super vague and broad. It was like, I help businesses scale or something like that through systems and ads, I think, right? Super vague, not really, targeted at all. Now it's, I help local service-based businesses doing 5K a month scale to the next level. Okay, and that has been effective so far. I've already seen that. I'm having more conversations with people in the DMs. I'm having people follow me and things like that because, I'm more descriptive. I'm talking about what I do, and people are going to buy from that because they're like, oh, okay, this is this guy's lane. It's going to resonate. The algorithms are going to push it out because they can understand it more, and it's going to get in front of your ideal customer, okay? So if you can do those two things, if you can create something that people are going to buy and you can get clear on your messaging, then you are going to have a product and a service that's targeted at the right customer, okay? You're not, having to do a ton of work trying to find your ideal customer because they're coming to you if you can do it right? Over time, you're building a following. Over time, you're starting to get better at running ads for yourself. Over time, you're dialing in your messaging even more, and over time, you're building case studies that we're going to target you, and those customers are going to come right to you, okay? What that equals then is a business that can scale, okay? Now, you could do this with something you can sell, like I was talking about, that is, really just repeatable and quick money, get rich quick kind of schemes. But if you can do this with a business focused on the long-term value or the lifetime value of people, then you can really build a business that you can scale, that's effective, that is not going to cause you to, burn out or have to do crazy things just to fulfill for your clients, or have you working, 80 hours a week just to make $20,000 per month, okay? So you can put that on your Instagram and flex it, okay? When you do those things, when you combine a messaging, you combine an offer, a service, a product, you have all of those things, and then you also have a business you can take to the next level. You can scale it because it's easy. It's right there in front of you. You have those clients coming to you, and now you can literally just look at, okay, where do I improve? How do I do this? What do I do next? And it's clear, okay? You can help these people. For me, for an example, if you guys are similar to what I'm doing, right now I'm helping local businesses get from a couple $1,000s a month to 15, 25, 50, 100. Maybe eventually I'm only working with a specific level of client. Maybe they're doing already 100,000 in revenue, and now I'm helping them get to 1 million, and I now help 10, 15 businesses do that. Okay, really cool impact, and I can't wait for that day to come, because I'll be working with people that are super like-minded to me, and it'll be really fun to be in a relationship with them where we're working on business, but also sharing our testimony and trying to grow in Christ too. So insane. That's what it looks like for me, and I have a clear roadmap to that, because I built things in place and systems in place that help me, so that I'm not hitting a dead end once I get to 100K a month, or I don't even like talking about that kind of junk. Once I get to an X amount of clients, and now I have to either completely change what I'm doing, or try something new, because um, you know what I'm doing isn't scalable, repeatable, and I'm burning out, and actually the trend is now dying, and now people are getting upset, and my churn is going through the roof, and I can't keep people, because what I built my business off was something that was sand. It was just that there was no foundation. Okay, so when you do all of those things, you can build a business that scales, and you can create real long-term impact, guys. Something that fires me up. Like, I'm talking with these people today, the junk removal people. They're in a situation where they're trying to leave their job before a certain date. I won't get into detail, but they were getting emotional about it, because I have the results, and I've talked to people and have case studies of what I've already done, and they're seeing those things because I have them put out there so they can see them. The messaging is on point, so they know what they're getting into when they're talking with me, and knowing the capabilities I have. They're getting emotional about what this could look like for their life, and that's exciting for me. And it's also a great responsibility that I take on too, because it's like, wow, really, I'm at the point where 6 months ago I hardly knew where my lane was. I hardly knew where God was calling me to go with this. I even questioned if this was for me, and asked him to remove it from me if it wasn't. And here I am, and I can make a long-term impact on these people, possibly taking them out of their job, and having them do this full time. Like, insane, guys. It's so cool. And that's what you can do when you build a business that can scale, that has a real service, a real solution, and a clear messaging. Is you can have long-term impact, which I would hope that you would want to do in this life, because it is so finite, so short in the grand scheme of things. You're either going to heaven or you're going to hell. And all I'm trying to do is lead more people to heaven with me. And this is a great way to do it, through business. Talk to people that are like you on the other side of the camera, that might not have the best idea of what being an entrepreneur looks like, or have the best foundation of what it looks like to be successful, or to achieve something in life, because you're constantly in that survival mode. I want to be able to get out there and keep making content like this, putting out stuff, showing real examples, real case studies, and getting to know more of you guys on here, and building real relationships, rather than just try to get a Lamborghini and try to look cool, and you know all these worldly things that I read about at the beginning here, in John 2, 1 John 2:15. So what it doesn't mean is, it doesn't mean you're going to have a get rich quick / passive income. You're not going to be able to build those things if you're looking to build what I just described, something that provides lifetime value and real results for people that change their lives. You're not going to find yourself getting rich quick or building passive income. You might build passive income over time, and that's kind of what my system is designed to do for me, and maybe the potential people I hire on to work in my business with me. But for now, guys, I'm way more concerned about the impact. Just like this video is titled, I actually got to see what this video is titled, because I don't script anything out. I just kind of come up with an idea, and then I roll with it. But if you build your service, the money will follow. So if you're focused on getting rich quick, talked about it already 70 times, you might work for a little while, might work for a bit, you might do some great things for so long, but I would steer you to try to build something that's going to work long term, with real results and real impact, and something that you enjoy, that you feel that God's called you to do, not something that fills your fleshly and worldly desires that you have, that you haven't learned how to be aware of yet, because you're constantly in that survival mode, or you've been brought up in an environment where you don't know any different, or you haven't been surrounded by any information, or godly teaching. So, guys, you want to do something like this, you want to follow along, subscribe. I'm going to be putting out more content like this, and I'm going to explain how I'm doing all these things, how I'm building client acquisition systems for local service-based businesses, and we're going to see where it goes from there. Just going to continue to submit to God and hopefully help people and change their lives and provide for my family at the same time. So thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.